We tend to think of artificial intelligence as a boundless engine of creativity. You type in a prompt, and the machine seemingly pulls from the collective imagination of the internet to give you something entirely novel. But under the hood, large language models operate on a strict mathematical mechanism called next token prediction. The system analyzes your prompt and constantly calculates the statistically most probable next word over and over. It isn't trying to be original, it is aggressively hunting for the mathematical average of human thought. Look at this scatter plot. When AI companies fine-tune these models using reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF, they explicitly reward the system for generating answers that are safe, neutral, and universally acceptable. The outliers, the weird, the bold, the highly opinionated ideas are actively suppressed. What we are left with isn't original thought. The machine is engineered by its very architecture to take the massive diversity of human expression and pull it relentlessly toward a predictable, algorithmic homogenization. This flattening effect is highly measurable, and it is already degrading the text being produced today. Human writing shows a homogeneity score of 27.1%. AI text repetition spikes to 45.6%. When future models train on this heavily AI-generated internet, they ingest their own predictable outputs. Researchers call this neural cannibalization, producing a sterile data loop known as neural mush. You cannot solve a structural mathematical crisis by simply typing "be creative" into a prompt box. To achieve actual variance, we have to rebuild the architecture of the system from the ground up. The engineering solution to this crisis is a three-tiered framework called the hybrid AI persona. Instead of a generic tool, this blueprint constructs a machine with distinct variants. The foundation of this structure is the knowledge layer. To build this layer, we first have to sever the AI's reliance on the homogenized public internet. We accomplish this using Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or RAG. This process forces the AI to ground its reasoning exclusively within a proprietary semantic space. It searches your specific private database for facts before formulating an answer. By strictly controlling the inputs, the knowledge layer effectively eliminates hallucinations and upgrades the system from a generic search engine into a highly specialized domain expert. Having defined what the system knows, the second tier, the personality layer, dictates exactly how the system processes that knowledge. We embed specific personality traits directly into the machine's cognitive cycle using a methodology called MBTI in thoughts. This structural approach moves past the superficiality of standard prompt engineering by altering how the system reasons.
Here is how that alters the math. If you inject an introversion trait into the model, the reasoning loop structurally changes. The system is forced to run longer, deeper internal analyses before it ever outputs a single word. If you adjust the parameters toward low agreeableness or a heavy thinking bias, the model stops trying to please the user. It injects skepticism, sharpens the tone, and introduces burstiness, a natural human-like fluctuation in sentence length. When personality is hard-coded directly into the reasoning loop, it acts as a permanent cognitive filter. It successfully disrupts the machine's default urge to regress to the statistical average. The final, top tier of this blueprint is the values layer. This acts as the ultimate director of the entire system. While the middle layer determines how the AI thinks, the values layer provides the moral compass. It sets the core objectives that dictate why the AI makes its decisions in the first place. For example, if you set the top priority as epistemic humility rather than pure efficiency, the AI evaluates risk entirely differently. When confronted with a complex, ambiguous problem, it will prioritize nuance and acknowledge its own limitations, instead of confidently guessing an answer just to complete the task quickly. By governing the personality layer beneath it, the values layer ensures that the AI's highly unique output remains strictly aligned with your specific operational and ethical goals. When knowledge, personality, and values lock together, the result is the birth of a one-to-one digital twin. By training on your proprietary data, this architecture precisely mimics your analytical cadence, your strategic thinking patterns, and your ethical boundaries. This allows us to achieve multi-agent synergy. We can place multiple, differently tuned digital twins into the exact same workflow to solve problems together. This diagram shows the operational mechanics of that synergy. You have a highly open twin generating wild, unconventional ideas. A rigid, highly disciplined analytical twin immediately stress tests that logic. Finally, a values-driven twin filters the surviving concepts for ethical compliance. This simulated team dynamic generates multidimensional, deeply human solutions, breaking the monomind limitation found in standard similar AI models. In the near future, raw computing power and basic AI intelligence will be universally cheap and accessible. As more people gain access to these tools, the ability to generate a competent, safe answer will become a standard commodity. If we fail to intervene structurally, the consequence is clear. Our digital environment will inevitably devolve into a sterile landscape, completely devoid of variance. In a world drowning in the digital average, engineering machines with unique, unreplicable frameworks is the only way to break the loop. When every machine is smart, distinct human difference becomes the most valuable asset on Earth.